Why hello there everyone, it is I, Epic What and today, I know, I posted a poll asking you guys if you want to see a One Piece What If, a Naruto What If, or whatever the fuck it was that I was doing, but I just got mail about a few hours ago apparently, from 11 the Ego, who's the writer of various fanfictions, and this one, which is Naruto the Edo Tensei Chronicles, which is a bloody good fanfic. I would recommend you guys go ahead and read it right away on fanfiction.net. I'm gonna link the fanfiction itself down in the description below, but I got his go-ahead essentially to record this fanfiction for my YouTube channel, and I was just so excited I had to record it and upload it as fast as I possibly could. So here we are, we're going for it. Don't quite have any art, so I guess the first video is gonna be a bit basic. I'm gonna try to find something for the video itself, but it's gonna be a basic video, just me reading out fanfiction, and honestly I can't be more happy about it. Oh fuck, this is gonna be amazing, I tell you. Alright, so again, don't forget to check out 11 the Ego and his stories on fanfiction.net. I'm gonna link the Dance of Death down in the description below. It's a bloody good story, it's a really good read. I wait for it every week just to see if he posts something on it. So let's get into this right away. Alright, Naruto Uzumaki was a hero. He had single-handedly fought and defeated pain, making him the undisputed hero of Konoha. His name was known by many, as he had helped so many individuals during his travels with Jiraiya, as well as the missions he undertook for the village. Naruto was greatly admired in many of the hidden villages for his strength, courage, and most importantly, his positive demeanor. When he died, it was one of the biggest blows Konoha had taken since Jiraiya's death. His team encountered Zetsu and the orange-masked man called Tobi, who had decided to take Naruto himself, seeing as his other subordinate had failed on every account. The Akatsuki had lost their patience. So when Zetsu had multiplied himself into hundreds of clones to distract Sai, Sakura, and Yamato, it left the Jinchuriki alone to deal with the powerful Sharingan user. Backup never came because there was not a single moment where either member of Team 7 found themselves able to get away from the fight. It was long and tiring, but in the end, they could only watch in horror as Naruto had been taken right before their eyes. Tsunade had been beyond furious, so much so that she refused to drink until she could find the boy who had come so close to her heart. Without Jiraiya's spy network, the task of finding the blonde shinobi was much harder, and in the end, the news had come to them in the worst possible way. The Godaime Hokage had eventually sent a retrieval team to rescue Naruto when they were certain of his location, but it had been too late. A week had passed already, and the chances of finding Naruto alive were slim. Many insisted on going to save the boy, but in the end, Tsunade had sent Teams 7 and 8 because she had faith that they could pull it off. Sakura had been the one to find his body. Once Akamaru had sniffed out the Akatsuki's location, she busted down the cave in one terrifying punch, and the scene before her broke her heart. Naruto, a once lively and energetic shinobi, lay broken atop a rock. It was obvious that he had put up a fight because blood was splattered all over his clothing, but it was clear that they had been far too late. He was dead. Nobody said a word as they brought him back to the village, and as they passed through the streets, their somber faces was more than enough for those to know what had happened. Their hero was gone. And though he had protected his village to the very end, they couldn't save him. The autopsy had confirmed that the QB was no longer inside of Naruto. It had definitely been extracted, and that had been the cause of death. Shizune had conducted it herself, and in her grief she could barely stop her hands from shaking as she inspected the boy she considered her little brother. They had found a note in his pocket, which was painful to read as it had been written in blood, and barely legible text spelled out 2 words. "I'm sorry." His funeral had been much larger than expected. People from all over the land came to pay their respects, and there had been no shortage of tears from those present. Gaara had not believed Tsunade when he first heard the news. He had raced over to Konoha himself to see if Naruto was truly dead. The feeling of being Kazekage without his first friend, the one he had vowed to become a better person for, was painful. He had fully expected Naruto to stand beside him as the Hokage one day, and now that was not possible. Gaara couldn't help but feel disgusted with himself. Naruto had risked everything to save his life when the Akatsuki extracted Sukaku from him, but what had he done in return? War was looming around the corner, and it had been clear that arguing about petty issues between villages was no longer a viable option. The loss of the most powerful Biju and Jinchuriki was taken far, far seriously. And within weeks of Naruto's funeral, an alliance had been formed. Tsunade knew that somewhere above them, Naruto and Jiraiya were smiling at their steps towards peace. This is the beginning of our story, one of sadness, loss, anger, and most importantly, regret. Kabuto knew what he had to do. When he had heard of Naruto's death, he was relieved. The boy grew more powerful every day, and now that he was gone, the war could be carried out more smoothly. Kabuto's plan to interfere and aid Madara felt incomplete, and that was when genius struck him. He grinned maliciously, and his cackles echoed throughout the cave he was in. "Orochimaru-sama," he hissed maniacally. "The time to take over the world has come. Everything is falling into place nicely. I know you would agree if you were here." Not too far away from him was the battlefront, where the shinobi had gathered to fight their enemy. He knew what he had to do. Kabuto flashed through the hand signs for Edo Tensei, and within moments the pieces he had planned to use had been brought back to life. All but one. He would save the best for last. Kabuto wanted to break them psychologically, to make them see the body of their fallen comrade being defiled and used against them. Yes, he was pleased with the way things were turning out. It was all falling into place, and Madara himself had been stunned to see how conniving the ex-medic was. The fighting had been brutal, and many had fallen to the immeasurable power of the reanimated legends. Even the Kages were struggling to turn the tides of war, which was troubling to see as they had the power beyond what a normal shinobi had. Kabuto transmitted his conscience through a reanimated body and found himself next to Madara. He smirked at the Uchiha, his eyes glinting evilly. "Madara-sama, it is time for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki to be reanimated. It is a good thing that he uses Senjutsu that gives us a huge advantage over everyone. With morale so low, this will surely bring us closer to victory. Shall I?" The Uchiha glanced at him with disinterest, then nodded his head slightly. Kabuto ended the transmission and found himself back in the dark cave, where he had begun performing the hand signs to bring back his trump card. It should have happened instantly. He had a human sacrifice, and Naruto's soul was entrapped by the Shinigami like the past Hokages, so his body had been summoned at his will. But nothing happened. Kabuto grinded his teeth in anger and went through the signs again, reciting them in his head like a mantra. "Tiger, snake, dog, dragon, tiger, snake, dog, dragon. Why isn't this working?" Kabuto was mentally exhausted as it was, with the rest of his reanimated creations taking up a chunk of his chakra reserves. It seemed that even in death, Naruto Uzumaki was as stubborn as when he was alive. "Damn it!" he rolled angrily. "This shouldn't be happening. He should have come back to life. I have everything I need for this to happen." While Kabuto sheathed in rage, the blonde in question had been awakening from his slumber. It was dark. Naruto was awake, but all he saw was a sea of black, and no matter how hard he looked, there wasn't a single spot of light in the vicinity. "Where the hell am I?" he questioned out loud. Unsure if he was alive or not. "Kurama! Are you there?" Naruto strained his ears as he listened for something, anything to let him know that the beast within him was there. He felt guilty as he thought back to the events that had been happening before his capture. The Kyuubi, or Kurama, had finally reached an understanding with his jailer. Naruto and the grumpy Kitsune had both communicated with each other civilly after pain was defeated, and while recovering from exhaustion, the Jinchuriki had confronted the tailed beast. It wasn't an easy process. They argued non-stop, and after a solid week of constant disagreement, they both had finally admitted that they saw each other as a friend. Kurama was adamant, and no matter how many threats he made, Naruto saw through it all. The truth was that they were both misunderstood. The Kyuubi had accumulated so much anger and hatred after years of mistreatment, and Naruto had suffered from the ignorance of the villagers who had identified him as the beast itself. Naruto made friends easily, so it was no surprise that Kurama, who had watched the boy grow up, gave in and decided that this was what the Rikudo Sennin had mentioned all those years ago.
So this is what you meant by true strength, GG. It took you long enough to come back to us.
The Kitsune kept these thoughts private, as he knew that somehow in Naruto's own ninja way, the tailor piece would be brought together and treated right, just as their father had wanted. Though this was good progress, Kurama had requested that Naruto keep their friendship a secret. He didn't trust humans, and he definitely didn't want to hurt Naruto's reputation as a hero by revealing the two had been talking. Though Madara had controlled him on that fateful day in October, the villagers would let their fear trump reason. The young shinobi simply smiled at this, saying he would respect the Kitsune's wishes, but only for a certain amount of time. Naruto felt that he had to be transparent with Tsunade Obacha and his friends so that when the war happened, he could be ready to help out. But then he died. It was a painful, brutal death, but it was necessary in order to protect Kurama, and for that, he would do anything. He would do it over and over again. What really happened when Tobi had tried extracting the Kyuubi was something Naruto had planned with the Kitsune, who had initially vehemently disagreed, but in the time that he had trained with Jiraiya, Naruto learned quite a few things about Fuinjutsu. After Pain's invasion, he decided that he needed to revisit the sealing techniques so that he could prepare himself in case the Akatsuki had ever got to him. The process of creating this safety net was not easy, and if anything, it was grueling. Naruto barely slept, and his nights were spent reading over the various texts that would help him create what he was looking for. Naruto intended on creating a failsafe where the extraction would trigger the sealing of a majority of the Kurama's chakra within another seal in his mind. It was impossible to not have a small amount of chakra taken, so after a lot of work he had been able to separate the minimum amount of chakra that could be taken. However, this still left Kurama and Naruto's fates at a standstill. That is, until they had a breakthrough. Naruto had been frustrated with his lack of progress as he wanted to figure out what he could do after the extraction. He would still be alive, and the Akatsuki would surely be suspicious of why he wasn't dead, as he wondered what he could do to remedy this issue. Kurama had come to him with bad news. Their seal wasn't perfect, neither expected it to be. If Naruto were to seal the Kyuubi's chakra into the seal, he would die simply because it would remove all the chakra from his system. With no reserves, he would die immediately, leaving Kurama to die as well. Naruto had of course eventually figured out a solution for this issue as well. With courage he never knew he possessed, he made the decision to seal his soul using a warped version of the Shiki Fujin seal. If the extraction occurred, he would prevent Kurama's death by giving up his soul, and when the extraction was complete, the Kitsune would soon be free. It was heartbreaking for Naruto to tell his friend his plan because he knew that it would be the end of their time together. The Kyuubi refused to accept this, even saying that he would rather be sealed forever than be put into someone else, especially if that person wasn't Naruto. The Jinchuriki was in tears, and after much consideration, something clicked in his mind.
"Kurama," he said excitedly, "what if I told you that you could be free, in your own form, without ever being sealed again, in a place that was safe for you and the rest of your siblings?"
The Kitsune was surprised. He had expected Naruto to stop thinking about sacrificing himself, but apparently he was very wrong. The blonde hadn't even waited for his response, and instead he began talking about Mount Myoboku, the place he had learned Senjutsu. Apparently Naruto's plan revolved around placing a seal he had secretly been creating behind Kurama's back. Supposedly it would hide all his powerful chakra and make it impossible to sense. Naruto explained that Mount Myoboku, which already had giant toad summons residing within, could be a safe haven for all the tailed beasts if the plan worked. The kitsune hated to admit it, but the idea seemed pretty promising. Kurama had blinked sleepily at him.
Naruto, what would happen to you if this plan actually worked?
Naruto had smiled at his friend sadly before looking at him dead in the eye. I would be sealed within the Shinigami, but Kurama, it doesn't matter.
I'm a shinobi and I'm carrying out my master's dying wish. Edo Sennin had wanted to end the cycle of hatred, and if you and your siblings were to be freed, there would be less corruption in this world. You would be in a better place, able to live a life of peace. I've already been talking to Jita Sennin, and he said he would do it. Now it's all in your hands. What will you do?
It hadn't been an easy decision, but Naruto convinced the kitsune to agree. He said his death wouldn't be in vain if his friend was safe, and that his only wish was for Kurama to somehow save the rest of his siblings that had been captured to help them reach their freedom. Which is what brought him back to where he was now. Naruto had been in a sea of darkness, and he didn't know how much time had passed. He didn't even know if his plan had worked, or whether Kurama had made it out alive. It felt like an eternity had passed before he felt something tug at his stomach, exactly where the seal keeping the QB had been inside. Naruto felt dizzy, but in a few moments he found himself in a familiar place. Water sloshed around his ankles, and Kurama was in front of him, seemingly sleeping peacefully. Naruto sighed in relief as he saw the kitsune was okay, but reality quickly dawned upon him as he realized what had happened.
"Koso!" he swore. "That must mean I'm
dead." A deep, throaty voice interrupted Naruto, and he swerved around to see what could only be the Shinigami before him. It was a terrifying sight to see. The Reaper of the Dead was huge, and the horns spouting from his head and the knife in his mouth made him look extremely intimidating. Nevertheless, the blonde shinobi steeled himself and stood in front of the QB protectively.
"Shinigami-sama!"
he began lightly.
"Shinigami-sama!"
he began lightly.
Will you accept my soul if you allow Kurama's to return to Mount Myoboku?"
The Reaper looked down at the young boy in front of him. It was strange. This was the first time someone had summoned 2 souls to the Shinigami, then asked for one to be returned.
Naruto Uzumaki, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. You are dead, yet your soul lies with me. I can free the QB no Kitsune's soul in exchange of yours. But this doesn't mean that the price has been paid for his release. Are you prepared to do what must be done for his freedom?
The Jinchuriki looked at the Shinigami with an even gaze and nodded resolutely.
"I will do what I need to do in order to protect Kurama. If my life and whatever else I have to do grants his freedom, then I have no objections."
Very well. You will listen to my instructions clearly.
He floated near Naruto, creating a mirror to show him the battles that were happening.
Right now there is an imbalance of death and life, and I need to correct this. You will be my servant, but you shall serve your village once more and help the world. As Ashura Otsutsuki, the man you have been reincarnated as once did. And as an Edo Tensei of my bidding, I will recall you when the time is right, but for the meanwhile, you will fight with the QB no Kitsune inside you as you have done when alive.
The Shinigami looked at Naruto emotionlessly, waiting for any objections. Naruto was confused, but he bowed his head in respect.
"Yes, Shinigami-sama, I will do as you say. I only have one question, and that is about me being a reincarnation. Who is Ashura, and what does he have to do with me?"
The Reaper laughed humorously and snapped his fingers with a puff. With a puff of smoke, an old man appeared between Naruto, and he smiled at the boy warmly.
Naruto, he said kindly, I have been waiting to meet you.
And end of story, chapter 1 at least. So far as I am recording this, we are 9 chapters in, and if you guys want to see more, fuck it. I don't know if you guys want to see more or not. I'm gonna record more because I am loving the fucking hell out of this series so far. But again, considering the fact that you guys kinda pay for the ads that I run on this bloody channel, I guess I can ask you if you would like to see more. Faster, I guess. So if you want to see the next episode uploaded within the next, let's say, 32 hours, then what's an easy like goal? 24 likes on this video and the next episode will be up in 32 hours. And again, don't forget to check out 11 the Ego and his fanfictions on fanfiction.net. Don't forget to check out the story itself, The Dance of Death, the Edo Tensei Chronicles, from 11 the Ego. Again, it will be linked in the description. I'll probably put a comment down as well, just in case. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy my content. It's been bloody wonderful recording this video. I am tired as fuck. I just want to go to bed. I should not have recorded in the... Oh, fuck, I have college in like fucking 6-7 hours. I need to sleep, I need to record. I hate my life. But I do, in fact, love every last one of you. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with me. We're almost up to 2,000 subscribers, so I don't know if you can, kind of like touch that milestone. I'll reveal my beard. There you fucking go. I don't have one, but I'll fucking reveal it. Now, until the next episode, I guess. Peace out. I'll see you then.